Hi folks, hope you're doing well. It's just gone 11:30 on the 15th of September 2020. For some reason, when I was saying the 15th, I keep on thinking July. It's not July, it's September. Anyhow, yes. Bit of weirdness, Okay. The issue in this video is, let's look at if you were offered one of two things that you truly desire. You can only have one. So for me, someone who was rejected by mother before I was even born and had that rejection upon him, certainly for all that childhood. Someone who craves love and wants to love and all that sort of stuff, who, never learnt to love. So really has learnt through these doggies, through my beautiful collies. Yeah. And so having the option of having that, a beautiful love, where she can mean the world to me and me to her. Where we would be the perfect fit for each other. So that's one option. And anyone who's listened to messages from me over the past 6 months will know that that's something I very much desire. Yeah, there's a part of me that is craving for that. So, yeah. Number two, the other option, second thing I've been craving for, to be used as a vessel by God to get the churches, or to start the process of getting the churches right. To be involved in some way in doing it. But if you do that, you can't have this wife. If you have the wife, you can't be involved in getting the churches right. Yeah. Because of the vision and the dream that God gave me years ago, there is a strong desire in me to be involved in that, to help with that. And of course, this morning, that's been on my mind, that if I had to choose one or the other, if God said to me, you can be involved, or you can be used to get the churches right, but you would have to sacrifice love for that. Well, because in Paul's writings, we see in Paul's writings that really, it's better if we are single, because then we can be focused completely on God. And there is truth to that. I mean, so for me, I would have to go. If you've listened to the messages over the past few days, I would have to go to God and say, well, first of all, would I have your guidance completely in that? If I decide to go for option two, sacrifice love, would I have your guidance here? Would I have that relationship there to know that I'm making the right decisions, to know that, when you send me out there to speak, it's you speaking through me, not me speaking, which people don't need. If no, then the answer is no to option two. You can shove anyone out there who you're not going to guide and lead to fall all over the place. Anyone can do that. I'm not going to sacrifice love to do that. And to a certain degree, I could be happy being 90 years old, having spent 40 years living with the absolute love of my life. I could be happy with that. Now old and getting ready to pass on, I could be happy. Could I be so happy knowing that, yes, I was used by God to get the church right so that people could be set free, people could be trained, and God could be glorified? I mean, wow. But years after retiring, years of living alone, knowing that there's someone missing from your life, even though you've done all of that, even though you've been involved in that, and that is wonderful. Ask me to give up anything else. Ask me to give up 10 years of my life. But then, no, I couldn't do that, because I would have to wait until I met my wife, and I would have to consult with her and say, do you agree that I should give up 10 years of my life? Because it's her life as well. If I was to get married to the love of my life and me, the love of hers, would it be fair to her that I've already sacrificed 10 years of my life, so I'm going to die 10 years earlier? She's going to have 10 years less with me than what she could have had. Shouldn't I consult her with that option first? Of course. Yeah. That's the thing. Can you have your cake and eat it? If you can, then I want the cake and I want to eat it. That's the truth of the matter. That's with regards to that stuff. I'm not going to be long on this one because I do have to get ready. I've got 2 hours booked in the gym. I might as well go. I could just cancel 1 hour and try and do something else. I'm not sure. Yeah. But what I was going to say was, from what I was saying last night, there are. What I said last night on the walk and talk, there's nothing about that isn't true. Nothing at all. What I wrote on the description, nothing about what I wrote is not true. It's all completely true. All of it is completely true. I don't understand the rest of it. I've been speaking to God and telling God I need to know. We need to know. We, his children, need to know, how do we access a great relationship with you? How do we, as church leaders, whoever those church leaders are going to be in the future, how do they access the head to lead them and guide them? Because that is not something that's been happening. Now, it may be, as I've said before, because of the system that has been put in place, Bible College. But why couldn't God have dealt with that? Again, it's his responsibility, so why couldn't he have dealt? I don't understand. I know the thing about free will, but come on. Free will. Husband and wife in the book of Acts who lied, tried to come God. Free will. Why didn't they have the same free will as all these people now who are damaging your church, Lord? Why did these people have free will to do whatever they want to do, but those 2 people didn't? The only thing I can see there, those 2 people were sacrificed as a example. But then that was it. Nothing else happened. We don't see anything else like that through history, where people are being snuffed out for trying to con God or trying to lie or, living in sin or choosing sin over God. We don't see any of that. We don't see any of that snuffing out of, people coming to you, but not honesty. We see 2 examples there in Acts, in the early part of Acts. That's it. That's all we see. What the heck was the point of that then? Just as an example. and say this is what could happen. But by the way, it will never happen again. I won't do it again. I'm just done it here. But it's like the flood, really. This is what I can do, but I promise I won't do it again. I send you a rainbow to say I won't do it again. But then where's the consequences? Come on. If the threat of the flood was still there, you can guarantee people would be behaving themselves a little bit flipping better. Quite likely, yeah. They would have learned from the previous ones. Said, we're not going to repeat that, are we, really? I mean, guarantee there would have been a few more floods. Because after, a few hundred years, they would have forgotten the reason why there was a flood, and they would have repeated it. As they did. Look at Rome, the way Rome tried to exalt itself above everything. There would have been a flood then to wipe all them out. In the end, it's not simple. Church has tried to simple things by saying everything good belongs to God, everything bad belongs to us. If God isn't working in the church, that's our fault. But never really coming with a solution to that. Never really coming with, but if you want God to work, this is what you need to do. So we're in that situation now where we want the church to be made right. But not just made right, but made right on a long-term basis. Not like things like Toronto Blessing that lasted, I don't know how long it lasted, a couple of months, maybe a year. It wasn't very long at all, was it? And it was quite situated in one position. That's no good to the world. It's very nice for that area, lovely. But for the rest of the people that aren't going to get there, bloody useless, really. It's more of a vanity act than anything else, isn't it, really? I mean, that's seeing it from a human or world point of view, not a godly point of view, because I don't know why God does things like that. It doesn't make sense to me at all, because if you love your people, it means all the people. Why just do nice little things over there? Just do a little bit of niceness over there. And then maybe 20 years later, do a little bit of niceness over there. Excuse me? All your people are suffering right now. All of them. Oh. It is what it is. But I say I don't have answers right now. I don't. I wish I did. I really wish I had the answer. I wish I knew what we had to do. Because, as I said in the video last night, Smith was to have had that sort of relationship with God. He was led and guided by the Holy Spirit. He knew things that there was no way he could have known. Now, of course, there are stories that are told now. Whether they're 100% accurate is a different matter. But generally speaking, it's seriously suggested from the people that were there and from his own ministries that he was being guided by God. So it is possible, but, that was then. He did things a certain way then. And the way he did things then, it was possible for everyone to do things that easily then. To keep the world out, certainly of his home. That was easy enough to do then. Not so easy to do now. Especially for younger people, because, they have, social media shoved in their faces from youth, and it's vitally important, as far as they're told, to be on Facebook, to be on Twitter, to be on Instagram, to be on Snapchat and all this. That's bringing the world right into your home, isn't it, really? So how do we connect with you in a way that is going to be fantastic, where we can be molded and led the way Wigglesworth was in today's times? I don't know. I keep asking the questions. I haven't got an answer yet. When I get an answer, I'll bring it to you. I do my best to do so. So, yeah. It is what it is, and I don't know. I try to get things sorted. I try to have an understanding of things, but right at this moment in time, I don't really have much of an understanding. I don't. I wish I did. I really do wish I did, but I don't. I'm struggling with the whole thing right now because it doesn't make sense to me at all. There's a lot of stuff that just doesn't make sense to me. How do you get from having no relationship with God really at all to having a fantastic relationship with God? I have no idea. It just doesn't make sense to me. So, it is what it is. Just gotta get on with the situation that you face and try your darndest to grow. To learn what you need to learn so that you can have faith, so that you can go in the right direction, so you can glorify God. Yeah. All pretty important. All things that we need to do. To be led by the Holy Spirit is a vitally important thing and something which we, up to now, have struggled immensely to get anywhere near doing. Anywhere near. So, as I said last night, as I said on so many occasions, for you people who think your church is doing well, no. As I say, no. There are things that you can measure if your church is doing anywhere near what it should be doing. Anywhere near what should be expected of it. If the Holy Spirit is working in your church, then people would be driving past and there'll be people crashing into trees and other stuff because they'll be convicted of the Holy Spirit as they're driving past. And they would lose control temporarily of their vehicles, that's a certainty. They would. Because they would wonder, what the heck is that? What just happened? They would have experienced something which would be not of this earth. And to them, it's going to freak them out a bit. That would be happening and on a regular basis. The worship would be such that people would be drawn in. Drawn in from outside. Non-Christians would just come into the church because the worship would be such that they wouldn't be able to help themselves from coming in. The media would be camped out at your church. Camped out. That's the reality of the situation, isn't it? Yeah. All of these things would be the case because you would be in a situation where God was working in your church, which is rare. And because it's rare, it would get the attention of the local people, the local media, the national media. You'd have queues of people trying to get in. Especially now, there's a desperation. There has been a desperation for a long time. There's been a darkness. So if God was working in your church, there would be strong evidence of that. The lack of that strong evidence means that God is not working in your church. That's the reality of the situation. God just is not working in your church. It's what it is. So there you go. You take care. God bless. And I will speak to you soon. As I say, if I get any answers, I'll bring the answers. I don't have any. I just know that, a lot of stuff we've been told isn't true. Even the fact that, church is pretty much supposed to be what it is. Church is not supposed to be anything like what it is. Not anything like it in any way, shape, or form. For starters, it's supposed to be open pretty much 24/7. It's not. And the reason it's not is fear-based, not anything else. Fear-based. How are we going to pay for it? Fear-based. What if people come in and damage it? Fear-based. How are we going to staff it? Fear-based. What about trusting God? What about getting God to provide for you? What about getting God to guide you and lead you and to provide the people to do that? There's been no desire. No desire. And so many churches have taken the easy route. They meet in a school. So therefore, because they meet in a school, they have no responsibilities really to that community. Because it's a school, it's not a church. They just happen to meet there because it's cheap and it's easy. They don't need to be looking to purchase a building and to support that building in any way, shape, or form, to trust in God to provide for them. So let's just meet in a church, shall we? There's plenty of old church buildings that you could use, that you could purchase and use. Of course, you've got to have God provide for you to do that. And that's a problem. Mollie Collie's sleeping. I don't know if you can hear her. You okay, Mollie Collie? You having a sleepy bubba? Hello, Mollie Collie. How you doing? You having a little sleepy? Was you? And my beautiful bubba girl. Did you have nice dreams? Eh? Did you dream of playing with Daddy? No. Having belly rubs and loved ones. It's good, bubba. Love you, Mollie Collie. Well, there you go. As I say, I don't mean to be harsh on people, but come on, we've got to be realistic. We've got to have some. We've got to have a realistic view. We've got to have an understanding of, it's God's responsibility, the church. It is. Even though we're in it, and even though we muck it up because God isn't leading, because God isn't training us. Now, there are reasons why that is the case, so we need to understand the reasons and deal with them. With God's help, we can understand the reasons and deal with them. But with any problem, unless you acknowledge there's a problem, first of all, you can't fix it. And if you are believing that your church isn't in that bad a state, you need your eyes opened. You really do. Because in most cases where people believe that their church isn't in such a bad state, their church is in a really bad state. That's the reality of the situation. And so, we've got a lot of work to do, folks, but first of all, we need the understanding. Now, it's quite likely that God will give the understanding to someone else. So if he gives it to you, share it. Share it. You'll get bits. We all, have jobs to do. That's the reality. We all have a part to play in, bringing God's kingdom to the earth to a certain degree. Not fully, because that won't happen until after the Lord comes back. But, at least showing people that there is an alternative to this world system. That heaven does exist, the same as hell does exist. And if hell exists, you don't want to go there. You really don't. It's a bad place, to say the least. I mean, at the moment, society sort of believes that there might be a heaven. They don't consider the possibility of hell. Again, that's because the church has been all fluffy, loving, lovey-dovey, mercy, grace, forbearance, and all that stuff, forgetting the fact that, there's reality, there's sin, and there's accountability for sin. There will be a judgment day for the world, for the people in the world, for the people dead, the people living, the people who will be living. There is a judgment day for every single person. And we have a responsibility as Christians to ensure that they have an option available to them before they get anywhere near that day when they face their judgment. And we all have a part to play in that. That's the reality of the situation. We all have a part to play. Now, what part? I don't know. I don't know what part I've got to play. I don't know what part anyone else has got to play. You may only have a tiny part, but that tiny part might be the most crucial part of all. So my part may be just telling people this. This might be my part. If that's the case, then that's the case. If that's the case, Lord, then, sacrifice. No, I'll have the wonderful, beautiful woman who's going to be with me for 40 years. I choose that. Well, I choose both. There you go. I choose both. There's no reason why I can't have both. I didn't have anything, as a kid. So I want it all now. I choose both. I'm a child of God, so I'm still a kid. So as a kid, I will stamp my feet and say, I want both. So there you go. I don't see any reason why I can't. So there you go. You take care. God bless. And I will speak to you soon. Bye-bye.